Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here, playing some GTA 3 Definitive Edition. I know the kind of reviews have been a little mixed, but I decided to put out a cheats video showing you all 20 of the available cheats, just to have a good time and experience the game in as many different ways as possible. There will be flying cars and tanks, so stay tuned. The on-screen commands will be listed for the Xbox controller, but I think you'll be able to translate them very easily and very quickly to other platforms. Also, a fair warning, the cheat codes do disable achievements and trophies, so you may want to make a separate save to be safe. So let's just get started. The first cheat is going to be one that a lot of people are going to probably want to try, and that is just to unlock all of the weapons on the weapon wheel. This includes the really obvious and simple weapons like the pistol or the AK, but also includes kind of the more fun stuff like the rocket launcher and flamethrower. So I'll go through each and every single one so you can see them visually, but if you want to experiment for them, try it in your own game. I have tried to categorize the cheats in this video, so the next few are going to affect things in the top right corner of the screen. First off, starting by getting full health. If full health isn't enough and you want to take a little bit more damage, we can also apply the full armor cheat. We can then do the classic money cheat, and this one will give us $250,000 of credit in our game so we can go and buy some crazy stuff. You can also raise your wanted level with this cheat. Or you can lower your wanted level with this other cheat, so kind of whichever wanted level you want, you can figure that out. Now things get a little bit more interesting again. Here is a cheat that will change your outfit, and it will cycle between a couple of different outfits. So if you don't want to play as Claude, you can play as some other characters. We then have the armed pedestrians or armed civilians cheat, and this will basically make everyone on the map that's walking around the city armed with different weapons actually, which is kind of cool how it kind of gives everyone something different. So you'll see Molotovs and baseball bats and all that good stuff. It kind of adds a little bit more character to the city. We then have the angry pedestrians or angry civilians cheat, and this just makes everyone on the street mad at you specifically, so they'll come and chase you and try to fight you. It really makes things kind of just wild all the time. So if the police aren't enough, you can make the civilians want you to. Another pedestrian affecting cheat is this, the Rioting Pedestrians, and this just invokes complete chaos into the city. The civilians will try to like hijack each other, they'll fight each other. They'll start running around, and yeah, just a lot of things happen, so it's kind of fun to just stand by and watch it. Now the next thing we can do is actually speed up the in-game timer. So on the top right you see the time. I think normally a full day cycle takes 24 minutes, whereas when you do this cheat it takes like around 24 seconds. So it's probably somewhere around the neighborhood of 100 times faster. You can see the day and night cycle, you can see the weather roll in and roll out. So it's a really cool effect. Now another thing that affects the kind of in-game time, so to say, is the faster gameplay cheat. I think this just makes everything 2 times faster, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is. It makes a significant difference when you're running around and driving, and the in-game music and everything too. We then have the opposite, which I think is not nearly as interesting. This is the slower gameplay cheat, which I think makes everything half speed or maybe even less. It's really, really slow. I guess theoretically, if you're struggling with a certain mission, you could slow down speed and you could put more button inputs into the controller more quickly in terms of in-game time, so it might be a little bit easier. We now have a couple of vehicle-specific cheats. First off, starting with improved handling. This just makes the vehicles way better at sticking on the road, but it also makes them a little bit harder to drive in certain scenarios. But generally speaking, this is probably one that you would want if you were playing through the game. This would probably help you overall. We now have the destroy all cars cheat, and I'm going to actually move out of the way a little bit so that I don't get blown up in the process. But every time you input this cheat, all of the cars near you will blow up. It will, however, just immediately spawn new cars that will begin driving down the street, so that's kind of interesting and unique. But yeah, if you want to destroy all the cars for any reason, here's your cheat for that. Next up, we have the cheat that everyone wants, and that is how to spawn the tank. If you have nostalgia for this game, this is probably one of the things you have nostalgia for. The Rhino, the tank. Once you spawn it, hop on in, drive it around. It'll basically plow through every vehicle in the game, and it also has a weapon you can fire, making it an instant classic. Next up, we have the very cool cheat, which is cars can fly, but in GTA 3 it works a little bit differently than in the other games. This is kind of more of like a low gravity mode, where if you get a little bit of air, if you turn a lot, your car will kind of get airborne. But you can't get as airborne as I would personally like. I'd like to be almost soaring in the sky. But it does make the game like a lot more interesting in terms of how the driving physics work. So that's pretty cool. The best thing to do is try to just jump off of a tall hill and try to make your way like down. That seems to be the best way to get a lot of air. The next category we move into is the weather categories. So the first one we can spawn here, if we're on a normal day, we can go into a foggy day. In GTA 3, this doesn't make that much of a difference in my opinion, but it makes a little bit of a difference. If you go to a foggy day or a rainy day and you want to go back to a clear day, there's a cheat for that as well. Although it doesn't show up nearly as well as some of the other weather-related cheats. Now this next one might be a little bit controversial because I think a lot of people really dislike how the rain looks in GTA 3, but if you want to make it permanently rainy, input the rainy weather cheat. Last but certainly not least, we have the cloudy weather cheat, which is a little bit more subtle as well. Sometimes I think you also have to wait for the weather to kind of roll in and really change the gameplay. But those are all 20 cheats available in GTA 3. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it was helpful. A special thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace.